Yeah. What is up, people? This is NBA Finals Watch Along with Romp, Greg, myself, DJ Eastwood, Run It Back Philly. Sixers Talk with Romp. Greg Melly, YouTube channel titled appropriately Greg Melly.
Appropriately.
What's up, guys? Haven't talked to you since. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys all together on a stream since the Sixers collapsed.
Yeah. That might be it. It's been a while. But I don't know. What should we talk about first? Our pick, Tyrese Maxey debate.
Well, yeah, we're definitely. But I want to ask you guys something, man.
Okay.
Same thing I asked the guys on the 4-point play on Tuesday night. When you watch teams like this, or just the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics series, or the Golden State Warriors, Dallas Mavericks, whoever else was in the West in the deep into the playoffs, do the Philadelphia 76 are the Sixers close to being here? Because some people seem to think that we just have like a couple of. There's a lot of comments that I get that are like, we don't need another star, we don't need all this, we just need a few bench pieces, and we're good. So that to me makes me think that people think that we are actually very close to being a championship level team. And I don't feel that. I personally, being completely honest, I feel like this entire thing is crumbling from the inside out. It feels worse to me than it was in 2019. Maybe let me know if I'm just being ultra negative, but I don't feel like we're close at all. I feel like the process is on the verge of being a complete disaster. What do you guys think? That's where I'm at.
The Sixers have no culture, guys. But I will say I would not qualify the Mavericks as a team that's close. They just have the Joel Embiid effect where one guy is utterly dominant. Difference between the two teams of the Mavericks and the Sixers are Luka is a perimeter-oriented player. Teams get away with that a lot more often and can win more often with that. And he's also like 14 years old, so we have Embiid, who is a big man in a little man's world and, is not 15 anymore. The Sixers are miles away from the Celtics, the Warriors, and et cetera, et cetera.
Miles away. So we need what? Like just a quick answer off the top of your head. We need what exactly?
Culture change. It's a culture change. It's not just the players that's going to make a difference for the Sixers team. It's gutting a roster, gutting an organization from the inside out, changing management, changing the minds behind this team. Coaching, of course. Like, coaching doesn't play a huge part in winning basketball games in the regular season. That's why Doc Rivers is so good at it. But, like, in order to succeed at this level that we're watching right now, like, you need a coach that can put the team together and create a culture that the Sixers just simply do not have. The Heat, the only reason the Heat were even in the Eastern Conference Finals is because of their culture. Like, they just have a bunch of guys who accept their role, play their role, look no further than what they're asked to do. The Heat, talent-wise, are not as good as the Sixers, I think. I think the Sixers are a better team on paper, but it's just that culture. And Spoelstra brings that culture. Pat Riley brings that culture. It's so much, dude.
I agree, and I think like the general consensus right now is that Daryl Morey has one more offseason to turn this into a championship team, but like a culture change takes more than just one offseason. So, like, this is going to be. I mean, this is not going to happen in one offseason.
So we're screwed.
Yes. Welcome, Rob. Welcome, Rob. We're screwed.
Two members on the panel have basically said that we're screwed. Romp, your turn, man.
I mean, if you watch that Boston and Heat series, I mean, like, the fact that the Heat got 3 games is pretty insane to me, considering the talent gap. And I think that was just based off of them playing super, super hard. And the Sixers, like, they don't play hard or they don't hustle as much as the Heat. And I think it's a part of not having the correct talent, but also it's having a senile coach who does not give a damn about if we win or lose. So I don't know. I think we're pretty far away, but we're not that far away. But like the changes that have to be made in terms of culture is way easier said than done. And like our
Right.
ownership is trash. For some odd reason, I don't know why. Like we're just accepting Doc Rivers back. Like I don't get why there's not like people complaining on the radio every day. Like why are we just accepting Doc Rivers back? Because if Doc Rivers comes back, you might as well just throw this season in the trash. That's plain and simple. No matter what moves we make, even if we get another star, even if we get good quality role players and bench players, we're not going to win with Doc Rivers. That's a fact, and I would put a lot of money on that. That if Doc Rivers returns, we're not going to win a championship. We're probably going to be a disappointment again because he's just so far behind these coaches. So
He
far
is.
behind.
We should hire the dude that just won 2 straight EuroLeague Coaches of the Year. He's apparently getting looked at for assistant jobs. I say, fucking assistant, just hire the man straight up. He's the next Nick Nurse.
Yeah, it's the thing that I'm seeing, and there doesn't seem to be like a backlash from the fan base or this ultra like movement, like Fire Doc Rivers movement, or people are beginning to stop caring and stop watching and stop listening and stop. I mean, it's even like the YouTube views. The YouTube views are more than cut in half right now when we post
dying.
things. When we post things about the Sixers, because people have completely checked out. They're like, we lost again in the second round. The closing
Are you
press
muted?
conferences. What's that? Can you hear me?
Greg, you good?
I think Greg froze. Greg, you good? I don't
Looks
think
like
Greg
you
can
just
hear
saw
us.
a ghost.
Oh no, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go.
The end of the season press conferences didn't tell anybody anything that they wanted to hear. It kind of just reiterated what we, like, hey, we're just going to come back with this same thing. So S a big D and buy some tickets anyway. And so I think people are like, I'm not even watching. There's so many people that have commented that are like, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching it next year. So I don't think there's a backlash. I think people are starting to check out, especially if they bought in and followed this entire trust the process thing for this many years, the tanking years, and then getting actually good players on the team and just still being right here like, wow, this is almost 10 years of my life, and this it doesn't look like it's about to change. So I think people are just checking out, honestly.
Yeah.
As they should. Dude, I'm not excited right now. There's no reason to be. We're so locked down with everything we have. We're like, oh, will James Harden we're getting excited about a 23rd pick in the draft. Who gives a shit, dude? We haven't drafted well since I was born, and we've had like 3 good picks in the 20s ever. One of them is like a half point because it's Matisse Thybulle. Yo, guys, I saw a shirt today in a thrift store. I was going to send it to you. It was like a Matisse Thybulle meme shirt or whatever, and I was like, $7? Nah, it's too expensive. He's going to get traded in 3 weeks.
Is he going to get
$7.
traded, though?
Who gives a
Morey
shit
thought
anymore?
he was
Rob?
untouchable, bro.
We're done.
At the trade deadline, so I don't know. But all I got to say is if Tobias Harris is on this team, that might be my breaking point because that dude he just got loser energy to him. Like, as a person, he's a good person, but I don't even care. Like, he played his best postseason, but it still wasn't even that great because
All right, I have a
towards
question.
the end, he reverted back to Tobias Harris.
I have a question.
What's that?
Does Joel Embiid have loser energy?
I think it's because he's a part of the Sixers franchise. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't avoid it. It's kind of like every season the loser energy just starts to evaporate onto him a bit more and more and more. I feel like his antics so far in the offseason and his post-game press conference was kind of a step back in terms of leadership. But I just don't think he could be a number one offensive guy on a championship team. I mean, it's super hard to be a 7-foot+ center and operate at the perimeter and be the number one scoring option and then have to operate a defense. Like, we're asking him to do much. I don't think he's a loser. I just think it's the Sixers organization making him a loser.
Maybe.
Yeah. I partly agree with that, but I also think that like there's so many things. Every superstar needs other players to step up, and if you look at like even the Miami Heat, they had Max Strus hitting big shots in big games. They had you know Tyler Hero coming off the bench and giving them 15 some nights when they really needed it. It's like if you watch the Warriors right now, obviously they have outside of Steph, they have Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Jordan Poole. If you run up and triple team Steph Curry at half court, he has to get rid of the ball. Somebody else is going to score. So I do kind of think that's the same thing with Joel Embiid. They're triple teaming him on the block, except he doesn't have Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. And
So hear me out. Like, hear me out though. Like, what makes the Warriors so good is culture. It's the system. It's Steve Kerr. It's the
Steph
idea
Curry.
that, of course, yeah. But it's these guys have specific roles they play, and every team needs a superstar. And a dynasty like that, of course, they have a couple of them. And Klay Thompson is a phenomenal player, probably the second greatest shooter of all time. But like, he's not as good on another team. Draymond Green, who knows what he is on another team? Like. It's system, man. Like these guys, their motion offense is the best offense I've ever seen. Like watching Warriors play basketball, it doesn't get better than that. These guys are constantly moving. They know when somebody has the ball, they know exactly what to do. Draymond is so pivotal in the offense because everyone around him moves. If Draymond Green was on the Sixers, he would be getting like 4 points, 3 assists, and like 6 boards because nobody moves off ball. Like it's not even about talent. It's just play the game of basketball together as a team. But it comes down to the fact we're like, oh, we don't have anybody. Let's just give it to Joel Embiid.
But Greg, you got to understand the only reason they can run that is because Steph Curry. Like,
of course, you're right.
Without him, because he attracts so much attention.
He does,
and he's the greatest teammate of all time in my opinion. And he's the reason why so many role players go there and they have like the best season of their career because he's willing to just run around off ball. He doesn't need the ball to be effective. Like if the Sixers ran a motion offense, teams could just stay with them because they don't have to double team them like they have to double team Steph Curry off screens or Klay Thompson. Like you can do that, but that's why a lot of teams just run like the ball dominant Luka offense, James Harden offense, ball dominant Joel Embiid offense because they don't have guys who are a threat like Steph Curry who will create so much attention off ball with cuts and things like that.
Also, it's just like he's just so good with the ball in his hands. Like Steph Curry is so underrated with the ball in his hands. Like he's such a good finisher, dude. Like he's so dominant offensively in almost every aspect of the game where we like overlook it because of how good he is as a shooter. But of course, like you're not wrong. It's just wild, dude. Like I watch the Warriors and I'm just like, I wish I could watch basketball and just be happy about what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's somebody in a chat one of my streams said the Sixers need to do what the Warriors did, and I was like, Sixers need to draft Steph Curry. I mean, yeah, I
After
agree.
Johnny Flynn and Ricky Rubio go to the Timberwolves, yeah, sweet.
They need to draft 2 of the best 3-point shooters of all time, literally maybe 1 and 2 to the same team. Yeah, I agree. They do need to do that, but nobody can do that. Nobody will ever do it again.
Yeah.
D'Antoni tried it for 10 straight years in Houston. Let's just shoot more threes than everyone. Let's be like the Warriors. The problem is you have to have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on your team.
Yeah.
Do you think Steph wins Finals MVP this year? If they win?
I mean, he should.
I think so just because he deserves it.
Dude, he's unreal right now. But like
I think he has like 4 threes right now
he's got
already.
14, I think. So does that make him what? Top 15, top 10?
I think if he wins this year and gets Finals MVP, he's the greatest point guard of all time.
I agree.
I think people refusing to put him in the top 10 is just like recency, whatever you want to call it, recency.
It's LeBron
denial,
James
maybe?
fans, bro. It's LeBron James fans.
But like old head basketball fans too, they don't want to put him there. I feel like it's this recency denial, I guess I'll call it. Like they don't want this new style player to be up there with all these legendary guys. Like if you really had to say who changed the game the most in the history of the NBA, Michael Jordan and Steph Curry are 2 of the guys that changed the game the most. Like this dude changed the way the game is played.
Steph Curry
I don't know if it's
changed
for the better yet. There's 12-year-olds shooting half-court shots now. So
LaMelo in high school. Dude, Steph Curry changed basketball more than anyone I've ever seen change any sport ever. That's like
Yeah.
Steph Curry to basketball is like the first ever construction worker that like discovered a shovel instead of his hands. And they were like, "Oh shit, like this is way easier." Dude,
I
Steph
think
Curry is yeah.
oh, my
this
bad.
guy's over here
No.
digging like 6 holes in an hour.
Yeah, they're like, "How the hell is it's like the kid from Holes. He was just digging at like an all-time rate." They're like, "How is this kid doing it? What is he using?" He's using Steph Curry.
Shia LaBeouf is definitely a top 1 hole digger with a
Dude.
shovel.
Yeah, or that little Zero, dude. Wasn't Zero just banging out crazy holes? Yo, pause all that.
DJ, you said Curry might have not changed it for the better. I feel like he definitely did because like the talent level at every level is so insane. Like basketball was not meant to be like players were not meant to be this good. You could go to an open gym and people will be splashing in your face left and right if you like play a one-on-one or something like that. And I think eventually there's going to be like changes, move the free throw line back or like shrink the court so there's less spacing because
Yo, imagine
you
Ben
got to do
Simmons'
something.
Imagine Ben Simmons' free throw percentage if they move the free throw back. Holy shit.
But I also don't think it's going to continue to get better. Like, I agree when it comes to sports evolution and players get more athletic and players are bigger and stronger. But as far as the shooting ability, I think it's going to plateau. To me, it's like the high flyers of the early 2000s, like the Vince Carters, the Tracy McGrady's, and those guys. You don't really see a lot of that. It was like an era. And now you're like, once in a while you see a guy post or somebody, but there's not like these known. There's a couple, but I just feel like there's things that it's like, back then we were like, oh my God, in 20 years people are going to be doing 360s from the free throw line. And it like never actually happened. It's almost like, it plateaued a little bit. I think the 3-point shooting of like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson won't be seen again for a long, long time. People will try to do it their whole life.
But also, like, even beyond Steph Curry, Giannis has changed the game immensely. I mean, like, you look at the era of, like, the biggest change in basketball, I would argue, beyond the 3-point usage is the fact that, like, it's just 5 versatile guys now. You just throw out 5 dudes who are all athletes at the same time, can all shoot relatively okay, and are just all athletes who can defend the perimeter. Like it's switchable defense. Like that's the biggest change I think I've seen. Like if you really go back and watch some like Bad Boys Pistons and even further into like the Ben Wallace Pistons, like those teams, as good as they were, they would just be so far behind the modern era of basketball. And even beyond the 3-point usage rate, it's just the fact that like Ben Wallace would not be able to be used in the modern game of basketball. And he is one of my favorite players ever. But that's just how, like, look at Draymond Green. Like he's a 6'8" forward who is not fast, but can do so much on a basketball court, can push the tempo, can play make, can do so much. Like Jokic again, like, but Giannis is just an absolute freak. A 7-foot arguable point guard who does everything and has the offense run through him. Like it's versatility nowadays. That's only going to get better too. I mean, that's one thing that is never going to stop. Like GMs and owners, not owners because they don't know what the fuck's going on, but general managers and coaches look at like rosters and they're like, all right, let me get 15 guys who can all play 5, 3, 4 positions.
Then why do we have George and the Yangs and Furcons, bro?
Why don't we have any of these players you're speaking of?
Because of the culture. Hey, dude, we had Mikal Bridges for like 14 minutes. What the hell are you guys talking about?
Yeah,
dude, I'll never forget that night. I wanted to jump into traffic. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I was working. I stopped and asked somebody. I'm like, who did we draft? The guy's like Mikal Bridges. I was like, oh, perfect. I knew that. I knew that was set up perfectly. Villanova kid. That's amazing. Like 30 seconds later, this guy's like, hey, they traded him. I'm like, what? We did what? What, didn't we need a perfect 3-and-D player? We just drafted him, and we what? Yeah, that was.
We would have ruined him, man. Let's be honest. He had a hitch in his shot when he first came out, and we would have ruined him. There's no doubt in my mind he would not have been as good on the Sixers. Like he had the Sixers draft curse with that hitch in his shot.
He
And then
would have forgot
all
how
of
to
a sudden
shoot.
he
We would
would
have
have.
been like, yo, Markel, teach him how to shoot. And Markel's like, okay. And then Mikel would have been shooting like Bill Cartwright. Fuck.
The process will be a 30 for 30 though, and it will be. Isn't it crazy that two of the weirdest in my lifetime, two of the weirdest things I've ever seen, Ben Simmons and Markel Fultz on the same franchise in a span of 3 years. Two of the weirdest things I've seen in basketball. A player that some people think wrecked a motorcycle and tore his shoulder apart. Some people think it was a mental thing.
Wait. And Zaire Smith, a dude who almost lost
yeah,
his life to
nearly died.
allergies.
Who we got for Mikal Bridges? So,
Bro,
yeah,
allergies almost killed this man, and he's played like 39 minutes in his career. Zaire Smith is like the wildest, most processed shit I've ever heard.
We got to find out what Philadelphia did in a past life or like in 300 BC or something. There's definitely some, whatever you believe in, there's definitely some energy that's stomping us back to the ground every time we try to do something.
Josh Harris. Millionaires, dude. White billionaires.
White billionaires, yep.
Too many of them.
I think
Yo,
all
do you guys
NBA
hear
owners are
about
probably white billionaires.
Phil Knight trying to buy the Trailblazers?
What does that mean?
Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, wants to buy the Trailblazers
Why?
because he has a shit ton of money and he doesn't know what to do with it. I don't know. You go DM Phil Knight on Twitter. Ask him why he wants to do it.
But what is the importance of this? Is there an importance?
I just thought it was cool. We're just conversation. I'm not the host of this podcast. I'm just saying what's up.
Yes, you are actually. You are actually the
I was
host
just
of this show.
asking.
All right, apparently. No, that's a little bit weird to me that somebody who's already a mega billionaire is even interested in an investment like that. But yeah, that's complete boredom. That's out of boredom. That's to us. That's us going and turning on 2K and playing a video game. He's like, I think I'm gonna go buy a basketball team and see how that
us
goes.
using FanDuel and putting in like a massive parlay for $5 that will never hit. You know.
Yo, I had a buddy at work that dropped $5,000 on a 1 quarter like live bet, and he hit it and he made $30K.
I truly believe if someone gave me $100,000 just to gamble for them, I think I could turn it into $1 million.
I would lose every
So
penny
if
of it.
anyone in the chat, let me know because I think I could do it.
I would be the dude from Uncut Gems.
I just need the income.
but we joke about the ownership and like sell the team and stuff like that, but I think that could happen like in the near future because here's Josh Harris's system. He buys a franchise, a struggling franchise. He gets them to whatever Sam Hinkie did, or maybe somebody else would have done it if it wasn't Sam Hinkie. But the franchise not necessarily gets better. The Sixers definitely got better from the tanking years, but I don't know if they really got better from before the tanking years, like 2011. They were kind of second. They were second round exits with Andre Iguodala on the team. They beat the Chicago Bulls in the first round. They're basically the same. Literally, before the process, we're basically the same right now. But what I'm saying is, he buys a struggling team, sells the fan base hope for 10 years. As soon as there's a little bit of hope, the ticket prices double and triple. The concession prices double and triple. He turns his $500 million investment into $3 billion. But now it's at the end of that phase, is what I'm saying. The fan base is like, okay, nothing happened out of that whole thing, so fuck you. You know what I mean? The whole fan base is starting to be like, bro. So I think he might get out at some point. I think he may be like, all right, I made my profit. Everybody hates me. Now it's time to bounce.
We are in such despair that we are resulting to conspiracy theories. And originally I wanted to laugh at you, but by the time you were finished, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's bingo.
That is exactly what it is. Trust the process. Are you kidding me? Please believe us, guys. We're going to build a winning team. Please keep coming. Keep buying the jerseys. Keep buying the tickets. Keep showing up. Stephen A. Smith was roasting the process while it was happening, and everybody, me, myself included, all brainwashed losers that believed it, were mad at Stephen A. Smith for saying this. He was like, this is a disgusting thing to do. This is not, you're lying to the fans. He called it all perfectly. And here we are. And
We're
there's
talking
only
about
there's only one winner here, and that's Josh Harris and Harrison Blitzer Enterprises.
Yeah, we're talking about culture too. Like, remember people would say like that's building a terrible culture, and we were like, nah. But now we're like, we need a culture. We need a culture. I mean, I guess it's pretty true. I mean, Joel Embiid grew into a system where we lost on purpose. He was the embodiment of losing on purpose. So like,
Yeah.
maybe that affects.
You need
I
a
don't
coach
know.
that can build a culture. That's what you need. A coaching staff that can build a culture. If the ownership knew anything, they would have been in the middle of this like firing Brett Brown thing, and they would have said, "We need a coach that can build a culture." But they were like, "Duh, big name, Doc Rivers, go."
Or
Yeah,
just one player that's ever won anything ever in his life. Dude, when's other than Danny Green, when's the last good player the Sixers have had on their team that was a part of a championship winning team?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Dwight Howard had a championship, but I don't know if he was a major part
the
of it.
year before.
Yeah.
He was playing 7 minutes a game.
He got played off the court in that playoffs. I'm pretty
like,
sure.
Dude, we don't have anybody. And like, it's good to have your best player be that guy. It's not, and it's good. It would be good to have your second best player be that guy. Instead, we went out and got a dude who is notorious for how bad he is in the playoffs. Then proves to why he is so bad in the playoffs when we need him in the playoffs. And then, whatever. At least we have Tyrese Maxey.
But will we have Tyrese Maxey?
Nothing matters anymore, Romp. So let's talk Tyrese then. I kind of want to. DJ, I'm sorry. But
no, good. I don't.
Romp got me.
Host Melly.
Romp got me biting at the fish bait.
I love that man, Tyrese Maxey.
So like, what's the whole thing that you guys want to talk about here?
With Maxey?
I don't think we should trade him for anyone. That's my opinion.
Anyone.
And
say the Blazers are like,
all right. Let's not go that far.
Anthony's the guy. We want Tyrese because we want two dudes who are 5'6".
I would rather my boy Maxey over Simons. They both. I
meant Dame.
Oh, okay. Well, even
Simons is nice though. Maxey's nice though too.
We could have had Simons if we want to go back to that, but I'm not going to talk about.
I don't think they ever offered Simons for Ben Simmons. I don't think they ever did that.
No, dude, the Blazers wanted anyone. I'm telling you.
Simons dropped 40 on. Simons dropped 40 on us at 19 years old.
Bro, Morey didn't know who he was.
Yeah, he called him a random player. I know everybody wants me to trade for random players.
Yes, please.
But I'm trading for James Harden.
We need random players. Our random players are Furkan, Niang's, and Niang had such a good regular season. It's just he couldn't.
This is what I mean when
Eastwood
people
out there than Niang.
This is what I mean when people try to talk me down on how negative I am right now on James Harden. It was like we made that trade over all of the other options because James Harden was James Harden, and it was over. It was a game changer. It was James Harden, Joel Embiid. It was a wrap. And I mean, this offseason, next season, it better look like what it was supposed to look like. That's all I'm saying, because we're in deep shit if it doesn't. And then you look in hindsight, you could have had the Halliburton package. You could have had a bunch of different things for Ben, and you could have kept Seth Curry and Andre Drummond.
Holy shit! This is so sad. Yeah. This is so sad right now.
And, people were saying the Sixers lost the trade, and me being a brainwashed loser like I am and believing everything the Sixers say, I was fighting it. And then I'm like, holy shit, you guys were right.
We all lost the trade, dude. Don't even worry about it. The Nets lost the trade. Right. We lost the trade.
Eastwood, I texted you. I remember texting you. It was the Kings versus the Nets. And after that game, I said, we better not trade for this loser, James Harden. He's so washed. And we still fell for the juice. Because he had like 5 points in that game, and I could tell he was injured. But I think I could talk you into James Harden next season.
Please do. I'm waiting.
I think I could talk myself into it. James Harden, I'll let you go too. I don't want to cut you off.
I can't. I truly cannot do it.
In my opinion, James Harden's at the end of quite possibly being exposed with his legacy. Like, he needs this next season to be very good. Or it's like, okay, this was just a really good regular season player who kind of baited officials for 9 straight years. Did this very predictable, but at times unstoppable. Not at times, for a couple of seasons unstoppable, like double threat, I'll say. Step back or drive to the rim and get fouled, and it got exposed in the playoffs every year, and it's getting really close to like, I don't know, man. I think his legacy's on the line, and if he cares about it, we're in good shape. If he doesn't care about it, then it doesn't matter. There's parts of me that think he has no reason to care about it, especially when I see him, showing up in a $10,000 Versace outfit with dumb-looking shades on, big weird-looking Kanye boots, and like drops $150,000 in a nightclub. I'm like, this guy he just loves that lifestyle, and I don't know. I'd probably love it too, but I might be honest about it, or I might not. I might keep faking it and get another $50 million. I don't know. Anyway,
See, for me, it all depends if he takes the pay cut. Like that will show if he's legit. Because if he doesn't, then we just don't have a lot of flexibility, especially with Tobias Harris being on our team with that contract. But if he takes a pay cut, that would give me hope. And also, I feel like, how we were saying he quit on the team in Game 6. I feel like his body quit on him just as much as he quit. Like you could tell his hamstring was messed up. And just the way he was running, he was just gassed out, I think. And that's on him for not being in the proper shape. But I also got to give him the benefit of the doubt because supposedly, these Houston Harden fans said he hasn't had an offseason to train. But if he could get his body right, I feel like all those missed layups that were easy shots, he starts making them more. And also he can get around people a little bit more because he was a really good playmaker and he was drawing a lot of attention. Like a lot of Maxey's points in the playoffs, they were pretty much all generated from James Harden, like driving or getting doubled or triple teamed or him finding him in transition because the Sixers were like, Maxey, you can't do anything in the half court because you're not allowed to. So Harden,
He can't.
I know he can, but this Doc Rivers is too dumb to realize
No,
that.
I don't know if he can. Like Tyrese is not a good half court player.
He can because when we ran sets for him, something good usually happened. His usage rating was lower than Tobias Harris throughout the season. That's embarrassing.
Sometimes I think both of those things, but sometimes I definitely see where he seems just like a straight line kind of player. He needs other players to draw the defense, and then he can just bolt to the rim. When things break down and you have to create, he either shoots a three, and if he's on, he's on. But yeah, I saw a lot of him not being able to create, ISO situation in the half court. But again, he's 21, so
yeah, I mean he'll work on it. Like what Tyrese needs to work on this offseason is his dribble package because he doesn't really have a solidified dribble package, and he needs to work on shooting off the ball a little bit more. Like he is a phenomenal player, but I don't believe that he, at least right now, is a very good half-court player. A lot of his points would come off of his first step after Harden would lull somebody asleep or whatever, but he's just not there yet, and that's okay. He's not expected to be an all-star at any point of his career. He's already better than I think anybody ever thought he was going to be, but in order for him to take the next step, that's definitely the next step.
The Celtics have Daniel Tice bombing threes out here.
I know. Dude, the Celtics are kind of like nasty right now. Like the fact that they're in this game.
Greg, here's the problem with what you just said.
Can't wait.
The Sixers don't help Maxey. They don't help him at all, man. They don't help Maxey at all. Why is he not running around like Steph Curry? Like he has such a high motor where he can run around. Like why aren't we, having him run around off ball, going off screens, stuff like that? Why is he just standing and watching?
I agree.
Why?
How much is that?
Doesn't call an offense. Doc Rivers and Brett Brown. This is 8. It's going to be 8 straight years of a coach not calling an offense. Just here's a ball, guys.
How much of it is that, or how much of is it the fact that we're just a general heliocentric offense around a guy who plays within 14 feet of the rim?
Yeah, but when you have a guy Maxey, Maxey who was one of the most efficient players we've ever seen, like as a rookie at 21 years old, how about just give him more on-ball responsibility with James Harden and Joel Embiid? Because whenever they were out of the game, all of a sudden, everyone was setting screens for Maxey and stuff like that. But for some reason, when Harden and Embiid are in the game, whether that's a coaching thing or an ego thing, Maxey is just like a stand and watch player. I don't understand it. Like, Maxey should not be shooting 42% from three. Either he should be shooting 8 attempts and shooting like 38% or 36. You can't have a guy shooting 42% from three and only getting 4 attempts. That's insane.
The one game in the playoffs, he shot 12 threes, I think, 10 or 12 threes, and he was like 5 for 12 or 6 for 12 or whatever. It might have been his 38-point game, like game 1 against Toronto or whatever. Like, yeah, The guy, he should be shooting. Like, just let it fly, bro. Please. We need people to put the ball in the hoop.
It's a part of the learning curve for him too, though. Like once he realized, I think honestly, once Tobias Harris is off this team, in which I 100% expect him to be gone, like Tyrese is gonna be like, yeah, like I got to be more of the guy. Like I need to, like that's like I'm not the kid anymore. I'm gonna be 22, which is insane because I'm older than this kid by a good amount, and like
it gets worse. Just wait.
I know, dude. I remember watching the Little League World Series, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm like 10 years older than this kid. But Tyrese is with age, he's gonna start taking more of a step, just when it comes to aggressiveness and just like just more usage, higher usage. It's bound to happen. That's bound to happen.
So I think the biggest fear in the back of my mind is that we come back with all of the same. My biggest fear is that Philly runs it back. Literally, that's my biggest fear right now. And so
Tobias is gone.
Tobias has to be gone.
You guys absolutely believe. You guys absolutely believe that Daryl Morey is not an idiot, and he's going to sit there and say, "All right, obviously I got to do shit here."
Dude, he has to.
I believe he's an idiot.
No, I don't, dude. His job.
I believe he's an idiot.
His job is 100% on the line with this, and Tobias Harris is not going to be a Sixer. He's not. I promise you. I'll put
Is Daryl Morey's legacy on the line also?
Yeah, dude. 100%. 100%.
Dude,
Daryl's going to do something. Daryl has never sat on his ass. He may have made some bad moves in his career.
Greg, you're falling for the Morey hype again. What has he done throughout his career besides trade for James Harden, then trade for James Harden again?
He tries.
What I was going to say is
what I'm saying is, like, do I think Daryl Morey is going to make the right move? No, not necessarily. But do I think Daryl Morey is going to make a move? 1,000%, because Daryl Morey plays 2K. That's how he operates teams, dude. He has more trades in his tenure. He's addicted to
numbers. This is the problem. He's addicted to numbers, and he's not a basketball mind.
None of these freaking nerds are, dude. None of these dudes are. Some are just better than others. Some, it just works. It's really hard to win a championship, but Daryl Morey at least tries. Like, he's trying.
I thought he was a basketball mind, but when I heard the live comment of when he was on 97.5 The Fanatic and he said, everybody wants me to trade for random players, I took a step back. I took a step back because I was like, what? And then I started to kind of think that maybe this guy doesn't know a whole lot about the landscape of the NBA and is just obsessed with James Harden like Romp's been telling me. That comment really made me take a step back. But at the same time, I don't know. I know he did things that needed to be done after the Elton Brand or whoever was making the decisions with the Al Horford signing and all that stuff. But at the same time those are things that literally any of us could have done. Yeah. It was obvious. You have to get rid of Al Horford. You have to throw in a first-round pick. Somebody was like, we'll give you Danny Green. Yeah. And we were like, okay, cool. Like, it wasn't that
He's on
genius.
OKC. He's on OKC.
Yeah, it seemed genius, but at the same time, I don't think it was. I think those were obvious moves that had to be done. I don't know how the regime before him didn't figure that out. But
I'm not going to call Morey, not calling Morey a genius, but I believe in him. I believe in him more than you guys do, at least.
You're falling for the.
I'm up in the air. I don't know.
You're drinking the James Harden Kool-Aid. James Harden is done. He's done.
He's not done. He's not going to be the James Harden of the past.
He hasn't shown an ability to be what we need. Yeah, but he's not worth the money that we're paying him. We're going to be paying him, and it doesn't matter. You can be an all-star.
Bro, we got Tobias Harris on my team.
So then, Greg, what's your prediction for this upcoming season? James opts into $47 million, and then he's trash again, and then we're like, all right, bro, this ain't working out. See you later.
Yeah, I think James opts in, and then James plays exactly the same. James does not get a max contract. I think he doesn't get a max contract anywhere he goes. He's going to sign like a 4-year, $120 million deal elsewhere, maybe, and the Sixers are going to be a second-round exit. But I believe
your boy Morey is going to sign him to a multiple-year deal. I guarantee you that. Less money.
He'll be fired. He'll be fired before doing that.
All right. If the Sixers were smart, this is what they would do next season. This is what they have to do in order for us to reach the promised land. The regular season should just be focused on developing Maxey as the number one option offensively. You heard it here. Number one option. He should be developed that during the regular season, and Embiid and Harden should just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. And then hopefully by the time the regular season is over, Maxey is averaging like 25 playmaking strides, whatever it is. But he should be the focal point in the regular season, everything through Maxey. Because then come playoff time, it's not just Harden and Embiid. They actually got a game plan for Maxey, and Maxey's a little more ready in terms of half-court opportunities. But that's not going to happen, so.
But that's so much on, like, it's so much of it's on Maxey too, though. Like, Maxey needs to get stronger.
He's ready, though.
Everyone's
like he's not ready, but he is ready. What has he shown that he's not ready? I know his age.
He's ready.
Just give him the keys, man. Let him fail.
He's ready.
You have to let him fail.
We're not,
let him.
That's something Doc Rivers doesn't do. He doesn't let players fail.
We're not in that position to just go out and let a kid
What
fail.
is the other option, Greg?
I don't. Dude, that's not
the
dude. The window is right now. It's right now. You know what? The window was basically, if I'm going to be honest with you, 2 years ago, and we passed it. It's over. It's over. But the window is right now. We have no first-round picks. We're going crazy over some bullshit 23rd pick that we're probably going to trade anyway because the window is right now. To be able to just be like, Tyrese, go do it, like it's on you, dude. It's not going to win us a championship. Sure, we'll be better down the line, but down the line is not the importance because Embiid won't be here. Like, I hear you. I think we should develop him. It would be the best for our franchises.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because I need this to clip out for a separate YouTube video. So let's talk about that. The Brooklyn Nets defer the Sixers pick to next season, leaving us with the 23rd pick in the 2022 NBA draft. Greg Melly, I saw, had a tweet in all caps, by the way, which means it's very serious, that said, trade the pick. So that, Greg, you want to elaborate on your opinion there with the trade the pick?
Why the hell would we keep it? It doesn't make any sense, dude. As I just previously stated before this clip started, there's no reason to keep it. There's literally no reason. I don't care who's on the board. If Chet Holmgren falls to 23, I'll take him. Why not? But if out of the top 3 dudes don't fall to the 23, there's no reason to keep the pick. We need to get guys who are veterans, leaders, winners. A dog. We have so many holes that a rookie will not be able to fill in his rookie season. And knowing the Sixers draft history, we're probably not even going to draft the right dude. We're probably going to draft some position we don't need, and it's going to go array as it always does because we suck. And guys, why the hell would you pick somebody at 23 knowing Doc Rivers will not play that guy for another 3 seasons? There's no reason to keep the pick. You trade the pick, you package it with Tobias Harris, you find a way to go out and get something. You put it with Matisse Thybulle, maybe a second-round pick, maybe Furkan Korkmaz, please God, and get Lou Dort. You find a way to go out and get 3-and-D perimeter players who are dogs.
Well, but people are, speaking of Lou Dort, people are already predicting that the OKC Thunder, some of the mock drafts I saw has them packaging picks already this season to try to move up in the draft. I personally wouldn't be shocked if they stack a couple more picks and try to go like balls to the wall next year or the year after. I don't know. Who knows what Sam Presti does with OKC. But I think the only reason you would keep the pick in draft is if somebody higher than Doc Rivers or somebody higher than Daryl Morey would say, listen, draft the best player at 23 because if this entire thing is a fucking disaster, we at least have Maxey and whatever kid you pick at 23 moving forward because the time must go on no matter how much the fan base would hate this organization for the process failing. You would still at least have Maxey and another young player that could be good. I'm just trying to think of a reason that there would be to keep.
How many guys at 23 pan out?
I know who would pan out perfectly.
Let's hear it, Rob.
I will put my legacy on the line. Dude, Wendell Moore Jr., I saw my boy Eastwood tweeting about him. How is he not? This dude, if he falls to 23, he fits perfectly. His role at Duke is perfect to what he would do with the Sixers.
I think he's a
6'5".
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do your thing on him, and then I'll give my opinion.
All right. He's 6'5", 217. He has an NBA-ready body. He can hit the mid-range shot. He can pretty much do everything. And he was, overshadowed by guys like Banchero, AJ Griffin, who are both a lottery pick potential. So to have the ability at Duke to, still put up numbers and just play the way he did is really impressive to me. Plus, over time at Duke, he improved from a 21% three-point shooter to a 40% three-point shooter. He improved, and I don't know. He just fits perfectly, but the Sixers aren't going to draft him because they're stupid. Let's be real. But that's a guy who can come in and play right away because he's going to play hard. He's going to play super, super hard because he's trying to make a name for himself, and he's very switchable. And he's an upgrade from any wing. He's an upgrade from any wing we had.
It's not going to happen, dude.
He can take it to the rim. He can shoot.
Doc Rivers will never play. It doesn't matter.
He has to.
That's why
Danny Green's not coming back.
Well, and somebody, I don't remember who, one of you guys said the Sixers never draft the right players or were suck at drafting. I think Daryl had a decent draft, especially this past season, or 2 seasons ago with Maxey, Isaiah Joe, B-Ball Paul, and then this season with Charles Bassey. I think I got that timeline right. But either way, I think he's been drafting decently, and Doc Rivers is just sitting here literally refusing to play guys and refusing to give anybody a chance. So, yeah, I agree. If we pick a guy, is Doc going to play him? It's not – Doc Rivers is not in a position where he's going to suddenly look in a mirror and question his doing and say, okay, I need to change. Hey, you guys have a grandpa that sits in a chair and doesn't listen to anyone? Is he at the stage where he's going to change what he's doing? No.
Every grandpop ever. Welcome to systematic problems.
But I'm saying he's there. He lived his whole life. He's sitting in the chair. He did everything. He's not listening to anything. You can't tell him this is what you need to do. You need to make a Facebook page. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm watching my black and white TV in my recliner. I'm 90 years old. That's Doc Rivers. I'm doing it this way until I'm deceased. There's no changing it.
More than anything, we have to stop sitting here and lying to ourselves, pretending like people are going to take accountability for their actions next year. Because, dude, it's just not happening. Doc's not changing. The guys on the team are not changing. Harden's not changing. Nothing's changing. We're not drafting a kid that's going to come in and just change the culture. It's not happening. I don't care who it is. I don't care where it's at. They're getting a rookie doesn't make any sense because Doc Rivers doesn't play Bassey, doesn't play Isaiah Joe, who are both guys who could be on championship-level team rotations, and I genuinely, firmly believe that. Do I think they would get 30 minutes? No, but Isaiah they could get 5 to 10. I believe Isaiah Joe is good enough.
Dude, that
in
dude's
a right
scrawnier
system.
than me. Come on.
I don't care. It does. Jordan Poole weighs 85 pounds. Would the Sixers be able to go out and get Andrew Wiggins and then Andrew Wiggins comes in and makes a difference? Of course not, because it's the Sixers culture that's the problem. Doesn't matter who we draft until the personnel changes, the problem stays the same.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Why are we just sitting here allowing Doc Rivers to come back?
Because we're not working for the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah, but I'm a YouTuber with 1.3 thousand subscribers. I have the littlest of say. Romp, you have the same, I don't know how many subscribers you have. You have no say. DJ Eastwood.
Not enough. I'm talking unless
you have a million, you probably still don't have a say.
And it doesn't even matter if you have a million. If King of the fourth quarter, if Kenny Beecham came out and was like, Doc Rivers needs to get fired, do you think Daryl Morey's like, well... Kenny thinks he should get fired. Let me draft and trade Doc Rivers. No, dude, none of us matter. In the big world, we are just little minions, and we're gonna live and die without watching the Sixers win a championship. Can we just accept the fact to have
Greg's
expectations because
Greg's
the Sixers
out.
No, we can't.
Greg's out on the Sixers completely. This is what I do, Greg. The problem with the Sixers sucking and us not accepting it. Well, I accepted they suck, but. It's actually the problem with that is that it's a hobby of mine and it's always been. So I'm always going to drag myself back into it. I'm always going to do it. I'm always going to be like, well, maybe if we do this. Well, maybe if we do this.
You know the biggest problem with the process? It helped us all become addicted to, well, maybe, well, what if? Well, in the future, none of that shit matters, dude. The process is over. The Sixers suck. Just face it.
Greg, have you posted a Sixers video since the end of the season? I think you checked out.
No, dude. It's been 2 weeks, DJ, because I'm so sad. I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to make a video. And then I'm like, no, I'm not, because nothing matters. Nothing matters anymore.
Hey, you want to hear something crazy? I'm excited for next season.
Shut up.
Because I'm excited.
Shut up, bro. Shut up. For your health and happiness, just stop.
When did Romp become the voice of positivity and motivation?
No, there's a poll. You just completely forget about that statement you just made. There's a small part of me that was like, I'm kind of excited to see the collapse, like, because then we could start over with Maxey and it's all over again.
You know
But
what,
it is
you
fun to
say that
start over.
now. You say that now until we trade Tyrese Maxey and
Yeah,
keep
but
Tobias
there's
Harris.
there's generational players every draft. Like
Yeah,
Cade
yeah.
Cunningham, like Luka, so I wouldn't mind that. And I just like watching basketball. Like, I'm not here to win championships. I mean, I wouldn't be a Sixer fan if I was here to win championships. I'm not here to win championships.
You know the
But
craziest
great.
part? I'm happier.
Yeah, I want to say something. When I said draft Wendell Moore, I was not even thinking about Doc Rivers, because I could use that argument for everything. Like, I could talk about Tyrese Maxey developing all this crap, being a number one option offensively, but then I could just say, oh, we have Doc Rivers. It's not going to happen. So, like, you could say that for any problem. So that's why he needs to be fired, because no matter what, we have Doc Rivers and we are screwed.
All right, so
fired for a million reasons.
If the Sixers bring Doc Rivers back and they start the season 5-12, does Doc Rivers get fired in the beginning of the season?
I mean,
because
so.
this happened with him in Orlando. They brought him back and they started the season 1-10, and they fired him after 11 games.
That was pre-championship.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
I hope so, dude.
He's set in stone now because he won that one ring. He can never be fired. LA fired him.
He resigned.
Boston traded him.
Did they really? I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We should have
freaking
traded him to LA.
He's the coach that won them a championship, and they traded him to LA. And LA gave a first-round pick for him. Then a couple years later said, oh, shit, you're fired.
You know the thing, like, about, like, teams who had bad years this year, like, all are supposed to be better next year, and the Sixers just, like, the Sixers.
Dude, we still have Embiid, bro.
There's a lot of unloading that has to happen. Yeah, there's a lot of movement that has to happen in one offseason. It makes
Too much.
me nervous.
I think a lot of movement's going to be done. I believe it. Like, I do. And if the Sixers keep a dude at 23, I hope it's probably Wendell Moore. I like Jalen Johnson a lot. There's dudes I like. I like that weird European dude that, like, sounds like Nikola Jokic, but it's like Nikola Jovic. Just for the
we should stay away from foreign players at all costs with our developmental system.
Embiid is a foreign player.
Yeah, but not really.
I mean, he's just generational,
But, okay. Sorry, Ron.
I'm positive. I'm Mr. Positive now in this stream. So, were we really that far away, though? Like, think about the Celtics. They struggled all those years. They
struggled this season. They
struggled with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at like 15 years old, growing together. Marcus Smart, a guy of culture. Al Horford, a guy of culture who seemingly works for them and not us. Like, dude, the Celtics are just a better built team.
Yeah, they have everything. They have everything you need in a basketball team. They have a dog glue guy, defender, Marcus Smart, who's like a miniature Dennis Rodman with his weird hair. Like, I just love the dude. He's an absolute psychopath. You need a psychopath on your team. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Like, one guy doesn't have to shoulder the load. Tatum could have a bad night. Jaylen Brown can drop 30. Like, it's like double threat there. Then they got 3 interior defenders that are better than any interior defender on the Sixers particularly, but a lot of teams. It's just like Grant Williams and Robert Williams and Al Horford and even Daniel Tice. Like, they have everything. That's why they're there. It's a well-built team.
But there's a possibility we could sign Morris. We could sign PJ Tucker and then, trade Toby for just role players, trade Thibault. There's possibilities, man. And when you have Embiid, our biggest concern for next season should just be like, yo, we gotta get this dude to not play any regular season games or just not even try at all. Who cares about the MVP? Let Maxey, carry the load in the regular season, because we could win games with Embiid just, half-heartedly playing, because Jimmy Butler, that's what he did all season long. He barely played in the regular season. That's why you didn't hear a word about him. And then when come postseason time, he turned it on. So when you have a guy like Maxey who plays hard every single night and can single-handedly win you games in the regular season like we saw against the Grizzlies and the Heat, you got to use him and utilize him like for the regular season to save your star players for the playoffs. So say we do that, Embiid's kind of just
Terrible
lackadaisically going through the regular season. And we have role players like Morris, PJ Tucker. There's a chance, man. And then Embiid doesn't get injured. Because if Embiid doesn't get injured this year, I know we say that every single season, we beat the Heat. We got 2 games with Embiid playing 20%.
If Embiid's healthy and Harden looked like he did in the first 4 games, we might be in the NBA Finals.
No, stop, guys, stop.
Yeah, but why did Harden start playing terrible?
Because
the Sixers.
Let me
tell you, this is another Sixer coaching staff issue. They looked at this guy with a hamstring injury, out of shape, and they were like, "Yeah, this is let me think about this. Let's use him as the ball handler. Let's use him as an ISO option. Let's have him run the offense, everything, no matter what. Even though we got
what he was
Maxey,
doing for
even
those
though
first
we got
4 games,
Shake Milton,
we don't have playmakers. We don't have dynamic players
because they pressed him.
The
Sixers coaching staff literally. That was terrible. That was a terrible mindset. When you saw James Harden with the shape he was in, and they thought to themselves, "Oh, let's give him all the responsibility." It was bound to happen.
We had to.
And his. What do you mean we had to?
The biggest
about the Heat.
Truly, the biggest issue with the Sixers is we don't have people. We don't have playmakers. We don't have dynamic NBA players. We don't.
Shake Milton can run a pick and roll, but what do we make him do? We make him stand and watch.
He's not a playoff.
Think about the Heat. They have Gabe Vincent. If Gabe Vincent was on here, he would be standing and watching. They let him run the pick and roll every now and again. They let Tyler Hero run a dribble handoff. They let Max Strus run dribble handoffs. We don't let our role players do anything.
What ended the Miami Heat though? Because
lack of talent.
Tyler Hero didn't even play in the second half of that game 7.
But I'm just saying, I'm just saying our system does not help our role players. There's no way you could tell me Shake Milton shouldn't be running pick and rolls every now and again just to ease the load off Harden and let him rest. Having Harden dribble up against a press every possession, he's bound to get tired with the shape he was in because of his hamstring or whatever it was. So it's like we were just screwed no matter what because, once again, our coaching staff was like, "Oh, we got stars. Let's make them do everything." Now, Niang, Furkans, all those players, Danny Green can't dribble, but he hit clutch shots. I
love Shake Milton.
We need better players.
I love Shake Milton, but he's not that guy. And even if he is that guy in the regular season, he's not that guy in the playoffs. We don't have guys.
That guy. He's not the guy, but I think he's somebody that you can use. Like he came up huge in Game 5 against Atlanta in the second round, and then Maxey came up huge in Game 6, and then Doc Rivers was like, "Hey, Game 7, George Hill. Game 7, George Hill. Neither of the 2 young guys that just literally kept us alive in the series. We're gonna go George Hill Game 7." That was the final straw for me with Doc Rivers because that was the first sign that I saw that he was like, whoever's the oldest is playing in the biggest moment right now. And he has an obsession with older players. But I think Shake Milton's somebody you can use. But, yeah, I don't think he's like, oh, my God, we need Shake Milton on the floor.
I don't know. I don't think any of it makes a difference. The system's the problem. The dude that just we're not.
Well, I think
the thing about the Sixers is like you can tell when there's a culture or not because when the Sixers are down 15, we can't cut it down to 0 and win. The one time we saw what was it the first round game and was it the game we ended up winning in overtime that we came back and we're like, wow, we won that game. Like what a strange game because the Sixers never are the team that come back from a big lead and win. It's just because we don't have a culture.
Greg. In that game, James Harden fouled out, and overtime, Maxey got to run the show. And he started running pick and rolls.
He played well. Yeah, he played well.
Started doing stuff with him.
Dude, I agree. I think
give him the keys.
Tyrese has got to be that
James
guy.
Harden defense. Harden only had 20 games, and he's a bona fide Hall of Famer. Greg, what do you say to that?
Yeah, so is Dennis Rodman, but I don't want to put Dennis Rodman on my team now. Like, dude, James Harden's past his prime. He's a Hall of Famer, great player. Not what we need anymore. But don't get me wrong, like Harden made this team better, whether we like to realize it or not, because the Sixers probably lose that first round matchup without him, because we just didn't have any playmaking. I love Tyrese Maxey, but he's not a playmaker. He never showed signs and flashes of being a great playmaker so far in his career. It's okay. We don't need him to be that guy because Harden took off a huge load from him for that. And he was great. Like Harden was great in the regular season, and he made the team better even up until the last moments of him sucking. But he just wasn't what we needed him to be, and that's just because he will never be that guy again.
Yeah, but that's on you, Greg, because no one should expect him to be a 30-point scorer based on what you saw.
We did expect him to do
with
that.
the Nets.
He was putting up 30-point games in Brooklyn.
Like 25 every now and
Dude,
again.
he was an MVP candidate last year, Romp.
Yeah, but this season he was
Well,
never...
then, Greg, why can't he get back to that? You just said he was an MVP candidate last year. Why can't he get back to that?
It's too late.
1 year he fell off that far?
He hasn't had an off season, Greg.
Oh my God, dude, he's on the Sixers.
I
Romp.
sound like a Harden stan, but like
so do I,
dude,
and I don't even believe that much in the guy anymore. But
he's on the Sixers.
I have a little bit of hope left.
I'm telling you, he's going to have an amazing regular season. It's just that he's probably going to fall short in the playoffs. That's what I believe. I think he's going to come back. Everyone's going to fall for the hype.
So give me like a projected stat line then, if you want to go out there.
No, but here's what's going to happen, and we could clip this down the road. He's going to come back. He's going to have a great regular season, but the Sixers system is going to be all James Harden. Everything James Harden. He's going to be running the show. So come playoff time, it's going to be easy to game plan against that, and they're going to shut him down because the Sixers are too reliant on James Harden, and he'll eventually gas out because he's 33 years old. And then everyone will be like, oh, James Harden's a choker, blah, 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 blah. But in reality, it's because the Sixers, didn't utilize Tyrese Maxey enough or whoever other weapons they had. So that's what's going to happen.
Dude,
he's going to come back.
4 games. He gassed out after 4 games this year.
He did. He teased
because
us.
He didn't get an off season.
He teased
I know
us.
I sound like a Harden fan, but
LeBron James went 8 years without an off season.
Yeah, but that's LeBron James, bro.
Okay, but like we're out here comparing Harden. We're calling Harden a bona fide Hall of Famer. You think
he's
a bona
he's a
fide
Hall of Famer because of his numbers?
For sure. But you would expect a
season.
bona fide Hall of Famer to be able to utilize no matter how much time he has to actually come back.
Here's the thing, in my opinion, we don't need James Harden to be like a 30 per game scorer like people think. Like, you have Maxey and Embiid. They should be the scorers. And then Harden, he's just operating the offense, having like a Chris Paul role. And then every now and again, when you need a bucket or get to the foul line, that's what he needs to step up on. But he doesn't need to be like a 30-point per game scorer like he once was.
Well, you said that the Sixers are going to run everything through James Harden, and it's going to fall short in the playoffs because we're going to run everything through James Harden. But I think we wanted more of James Harden this season. Like, we were yelling at him for not shooting enough shots and like finishing game with like 9 shot attempts. And
but think about
2 shot attempts in the whole second half of that game 6.
Exactly.
And we were like, that's the same thing Ben Simmons was doing. So
yeah, but it's his body, man. His body gave out on him because every second half he looked like a dead corpse out there. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because he averaged 36 points a game in a regular season before. So I believe, everyone says he's not a hard worker. I don't think he treats his body how he should, But I think he's a hard worker.
Maybe he does this offseason. Maybe he's finally a friend of his is quoted. Greg doesn't like this. A friend of his is quoted saying James Harden was embarrassed and he doesn't like being embarrassed. I think this is the first time in his career.
He already forgot about it. He got drunk. He forgot about it. It doesn't, dude. Enough with maybes and ifs. We're talking like we're in the process. It's over. I am refusing to believe something until I'm proven otherwise.
You were the biggest Harden stan, man. You just gotta sip the Kool-Aid with me, man. Because think about it.
Unhealthy.
We have no other. We can't hope. We have to hope this works.
Sign and trade. Trade him for freaking Josh Richardson.
I think he's.
Greg,
I think he's a hard worker.
Greg, if you were skydiving, you had 2 backup parachutes, and like your first 2 didn't open, and you're getting closer to the ground, would you be like, "Damn, dead," or would you be like, "Maybe this third one's gonna open. I gotta try it. I don't know. I'm probably gonna die." But
DJ, we hit the ground years ago. We've been dead. It doesn't matter anymore, DJ. You're asleep. We have been dead. And I have gone skydiving. Great time, guys. 10 out of 10 recommend.
I would never. I keep my feet on the ground.
That's a good motto. Keep your feet on the ground.
I enjoy living life on the earth that I was born on. I don't need to be in the sky.
Dude, it's fun.
So great. So let me ask you this.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you believe Harden's a hard worker?
Yes, an incredibly hard worker. He
Okay.
is a bona fide Hall of Famer for a reason. I'm not going to sit here and say a guy who worked at his craft for the last 32 years to be in the position that he's at is not a hard worker. But do I think he works hard on maintaining a healthy body? Not a shot.
No, yeah, exactly. He
Yeah,
was a
I
hard
agree
worker.
with that.
He was a hard worker on his game when he was at an age where he could treat his body like that. Yeah, when you get 32, 33, 34 years old, you got to start being a hard worker. You got to focus on your diet and your sleep schedule and things like that, and he doesn't do that.
All right, two things. One, to the dude who just called me a Larry Bird lookalike. You got to be the worst dude ever.
Do you shoot like Larry Bird? Like over the
Larry.
head? Like
Dude, I'm a bucket. I got no lift on my jump. No, I'm kidding.
I
Nah.
played basketball 2 days ago for the first time in 2 years, and my legs,
How sore are you?
I felt like James Harden on the
Yeah,
court. Like
not good.
nothing was there because your shot is all in your legs. Everything's all in your legs and your conditioning. It was awful. It was so bad. It was so bad. But it was step one of getting. All I want to do is get my shot back so I can be like the 55-year-old guy that's out there shooting threes. Like I don't need to be finger rolling over people like I did when I was 21 and shit like that. I just want to be able to shoot, and it was awful. But I'm determined to get my shot back at least.
My thing with James is like it's too late. It doesn't matter if he this offseason decides.
Bro,
let me just go.
it's not
Well,
too
Hear me
late.
out. Hear me out. He's 33 years old. He's never cared about his body to the point where he could be able to play season after season at peak performance. He is the guy who exactly looks 42 instead of 32. And it works because he's really, really skilled and he's incredible. He's unbelievable at what he does. He's one of the best in the league. Truly, I believe that. But it's too late when it comes to getting in shape. Time, the what's it called? The father time, whatever, has caught up to him. It's too late. He cannot get into.
I don't know, man. Didn't you ever
peak
see a
physical
P90X
perfection.
commercial where like a 50-year-old guy's like, I'm in the best shape of my life?
He needs Jenny Craig.
So it's not impossible. It's all mindset. He has to want to do it.
He's stuck in his ways, dude.
This is
Raisin,
why it's not too
what does
late.
professional raw doggers mean?
Yeah, we.
Yo, if that's
Furkan's
the
definitely
case,
a raw dogger.
if that's the case, where's my contract,
Furk is a raw dogger, man.
bro? First,
110%.
absolute lie. You are
Fur-
lying to
No,
yourself if you're gonna say
He's on
Furkan
Tinder, man.
Furkan has 8 kids in Turkey for sure. At
Furk
least
is-
8.
7 different women. He's the Antonio Cromartie of basketball.
Greg, it's not too late because we have Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey.
All right, so
Oh.
before we
That's
jump
why
up
it's
out
not
of
too
here,
late.
what are your guys' predictions for the finals? If the Celtics steal this game in Golden State, do you think they could pull it off and win the championship? I personally want to see the Warriors win another one with Steph Curry
Yeah, me too.
being 34 and these guys overcoming 2 years of injuries. It'd be cool to see them win another one and maybe 2 in a row or whatever. But I think Boston could possibly just have the deeper, stronger team. If I personally had to pick, I'm going to go with Golden State in 7.
Exactly what I was going to say. I think this is going to be a series for the ages to make up for the worst playoffs I've seen in ages.
This was the worst playoffs you've seen in ages?
Dude, it was horrible. The best game, though, I'll stand by it.
That's Twitter negativity right there.
Wasn't
in
this
my
more
opinion.
fun than the years that you knew it was just LeBron against the Warriors every year? There was no point in watching the playoffs?
No, I love LeBron. I want to watch LeBron win every year.
But the regular season and the playoffs didn't matter because you knew who was going to play each other in the finals. It happened 6 out of what did it happen, like 8 years in a row or something? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's just watching utter greatness. Utter, absolute. Dude, LeBron James is the
Oh,
greatest
God.
athlete in sports history.
Wow.
Yeah. You can clip that one, Romp.
I mean, that's
LeBron fans are just so annoying.
I was a LeBron fan for a long time. I'm still a LeBron fan, but I think I just got disinterested once he went to the Lakers. I was like, whatever. Like, not that I hated him for doing it. You can do whatever you want in the NBA, but I think I was over it. The Miami Heat thing was fun. Him going back to Cleveland was fun. And then it was like he went to LA, and I was like, I kind of stopped watching him, to be honest with you.
I agree. I just hate the Lakers. I think the Warriors in 7. They win it at home, overtime thriller, and let's see who wins playoff MVP. I mean, Curry probably, but to be wild, I'm gonna say Otto
Al
Porter
Horford.
Jr. Otto Porter Jr. drops 48 in Game 7.
No, Al
Jordan Poole
Horford's
hits a
winning
buzzer
MVP.
beater.
Imagine Al Horford wins MVP. How
I'll-
funny would
Romp.
that be?
Romp, are you going with the Celtics?
No, but I have a gut feeling they're gonna win. Unfortunately,
Isn't that a yes then?
That's
but
actually
I don't want to
exactly-
pick
that's-
them. I really don't, but I'd probably say
Romp.
Celtics in 7. But here's
on the
thing.
road. They win on the road?
Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, this is
This is grade
This is
A
a great
analysis by Romp. Yours truly.
I forget what I was gonna say, but I want to say it was not an Al Horford and Embiid problem. It was a Ben Simmons problem. So fluff Ben Simmons because that was ahead of its time, man. I'm telling you, I was a fan of that signing. It's just once again our coaching staff had no idea how to.
What signing?
Plus we
are
had
talking
Josh.
about? Oh, the Al Horford signing?
Plus we had Josh Richardson, Ben Simmons,
And Brett Brown thinking he was coaching in 1995.
Yeah, like Al Horford and Embiid would have been defensively. Oh,
Culture.
it would have been. But
It wasn't good.
we had
though.
Ben Simmons, man.
What does Al Horford play when he's on the court with the Celtics? Does he play power forward next to a 7-foot
Yeah,
center?
he plays next to Robert Williams
Culture.
sometimes.
Yeah, but is Robert Williams taking up as much space and attention and everything as Joel Embiid? I don't think a player like Al Horford can play next to Joel Embiid.
If anything, Horford should be better offensively with Embiid.
I think without Ben Simmons and like Josh Richardson, like if you
That's
put,
true. The other pieces
some
didn't
s-
help out. Yeah.
if you put
It's
like
the culture, guys. The reason why it doesn't work is because every single season, no matter who comes over, it won't work because it's the Sixers culture. We don't know how to put a group of guys together and win. That's why
wait, was
next year.
Tobias around too at that time?
Yes.
Oh, he was another issue too. That's another space clogger.
All right. Well, I'm gonna send you guys each a sell the team T-shirt so we can all three wear them at the same time on this show.
Dude,
I'll live
I
in
would
it.
love that. Sell this team, Josh. Like, what is the point of having it? You want us complaining about you live? Like, well, he's probably making
Right.
millions and
Dude,
billions.
he doesn't
so-
give a shit
Josh
about us.
Harris has never heard anyone say anything negative about him. He's a lot like Ben Simmons in ways that he probably keeps the same 8 people around him. His wife, his kids, his close friends, and he doesn't go on the
He
internet.
has a weird
He doesn't
smile.
listen to anyone. I
His
mean,
smile scares me, man.
he lives in a different world. What would you do? This guy has a yacht dock on the back of his house. He walks
what?
outside in Gucci slippers and walks to his yacht and like rides. He has a driver
hell
already
is a
there with the
yacht
boat
dock?
turned on.
What
Do
is
you know what a yacht
dock?
dock is? Come on, Romp. Do you not have a yacht dock?
No, I don't have a yacht dock.
YouTube not paying you enough for a yacht dock? DJ has a
Nah.
yacht dock.
I definitely have a yacht dock. I have a
Big
picture
yacht
of one
dock guy.
in my bathroom. He's not in
Get
the
us,
real world.
like-
He doesn't have the issues we have. He doesn't look at the internet. Why would he do that?
Well, I hope he has a bad day tomorrow.
He wakes up whatever time he wants. He
I hope he has a
slips on
nightmare
his
tonight.
He slips on his Gucci slippers and he's like, what am I going to do today? I think I'm going to go eat crab legs at 2 p.m. once I wake up fully. And some, like, poor bastard hands him coffee and, like, kisses his feet.
Yo,
And
this is just
Greg,
wild.
Greg, also keep in mind your boy, Daryl Morey, loves NFTs. So that's
Yeah,
another sign
Dude's
of
an
an
idiot.
idiot.
The dude is an idiot, but like at
And
least
you're trusting that dude. I would have more trust in Harden than Daryl Morey because Daryl Morey is Harden, basically. So I don't know why you're not trusting Harden if you're trusting Daryl Morey.
at least Daryl Morey's trying
What is he trying? He just
to
All right,
do
well,
random shit. I'll take random
Hey.
shit over nothing. If we run it back,
Listen.
I swear to God, I'm not making YouTube videos.
do not run it back. I might change it. If I wasn't in the algorithm, I would change the name of the channel to Do Not Run It Back.
Please don't run it back. I don't care. I'll change my name to whatever. I don't care. If we run it
Trade
back,
Tobias.
you guys can make my next YouTube name if we run it back. I don't even care. Don't subscribe to Greg Melly at Greg Melly.
That would be an amazing channel name. Don't subscribe to Greg Melly.
Yeah.
All right, but listen, man. Thanks everyone for coming through. I'm gonna go watch the second half of this game and pretend that my team is somewhere close to these two teams on the TV screen. Thank you, Greg, for coming through. Thank you, Romp, for coming through. Thank you, everyone, for being here. 104 people here while the NBA Finals is on. That's a pretty good number, I think. So, yeah. Any
Especially with the
closing
state of
statements
the
for you guys?
Sixers.
Yo, guys, don't forget to stay optimistic. The Sixers are going to run it back next year, but next year it's going to work, guys. Next year, Tobias is going to have an all-star season. Embiid's going to win the
not
MVP.
Tobias.
Embiid's going to win the MVP. Maxey's going to win Most Improved Comeback Player of the Year, and he's going to be an all-star. And James Harden is going to be Comeback Player of the Year. Doc Rivers, Coach of the Year. We're going to win 64 games, and we're going to win a championship.
Gaming with Greg, that's your new YouTube channel. You're just going to play like Farmville and that lawn mowing game on your phone.
All the old Facebook games.
And you're going to talk about how much more peaceful this is than watching the Sixers.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, no expectations. It feels so nice.
Greg, you should just casually warp into a Celtics channel and act like nothing happened.
Real slowly start making like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum videos, and then start like bleed green behind me.
And your background, there's this Jason Tatum jersey just popping in each video.
Be like, yo, my C's.
You still appear on these streams, but your videos are shitting
and
on
then people call you out in the chat, and you're like, "What? It's been a J. Cole jersey the whole time. What are you talking about?"
I'm like, guys, you've never watched my channel. It's been 6 Celtics from the beginning.
All right,
but one last thing: if Tobias Harris is on this team, I might protest.
Go on
Even
strike.
though
with
that
me.
doesn't do anything, I think I might protest.
All right, so I have the Sell the Team T-shirt in the Sixers City Edition font, which was fun for me to get done. And so I think if I make one that says Fire Doc Rivers in the same font, I think that'd be fun too. So I might do that.
Yes, please get Doc and Tobias have to go, or I'm protesting.
Would we get sued if we said kill instead of fire?
Yeah, Teespring would not.
Teespring
would take that down faster.
Cut that.
Cut the stream.
This Embiid shirt, it had a Nike logo right here, and they took it down real fast. So I had to cover it up with a run it back thing. Yeah, it was a copyright thing. So yeah, if you put kill on a T-shirt, I don't think they're gonna let that fly.
Yeah, they're probably not. What about?
All right. Thanks,
I'm
guys.
done. I don't even want to.
Don't say what you're thinking.
I'll hit you guys up. We'll do this again, man. We got to keep it going all off season because it's fucking boring.
Yeah.
All right. Peace. Later.